Let's talk about 7 ways that you can become mentally tougher. And we call this resilience training, and we have different words for it. So one of those words is
Anti-fragility. And so I love this idea. So resilience, what it actually means is the ability to return back to an original shape. Anti-fragility is like the next step up, which is, okay, I experience hardship and then I actually become even stronger as a result of the challenging experience.
what Peter is talking about with becoming more resilient is how much time does it take you to bounce back from something? And over time, with anti fragility, you can recover more quickly to the point where, oof, you get upset by something, but very quickly you re regulate. And it's the same with becoming unfuckwithable that what people say, the challenges you face, they might throw you off for a second and then you come right back. So let's talk about 7 ways to become mentally tougher, to become more resilient, to become anti fragile, to become unfuckwithable. And want to take the first one?
Yeah, so the first one is really simple, but most people don't do it. And it's reflecting on your hard experiences. Everybody has hard experiences, we all do, but some people grow and learn from those experiences and other people don't. Now, we'll talk about other ways that impact that, but one of the biggest ones is simply taking the time. Most people are rushing through life in many ways, and taking those moments to pause and often like with a journal be like, what was hard about this? What's the opportunity here for me? What can I learn from this? What strategies did I use that worked? What strategies did I use here that didn't work? The first time you do it, maybe you don't get that much from it. The second time you do it, you start to notice a little bit of a pattern. The third time you do it, you notice a lot more pattern. As you do the 15th, 16th, 17th, as you make this part of your life, what happens is this tweaking and optimizing of how you meet challenge in your life. People don't do that. If you do that, it makes you very different than the average person. Whereas your difficult experiences are going to take you from feeling more weighed down, more difficult, more downtrodden to more wise, more learning. And as you have more and more of that, the difference between people who don't do it and you gets wider and wider and wider over time. So that is a really simple thing that if you do it consistently will just put a huge difference between you and the average population.
And don't think this has to take a long time. Even if you jot down your thoughts for 2 minutes, that's already going to give you some insight, especially as you do it over and over again. The second thing to do is consider an infinite mindset. Now, a lot of people, when they're thinking about, like, did I win today or not? Like, oh, this bad thing happened to me. I had a setback, and ugh, it feels like the end of the world. It feels hard. I bet, tomorrow is going to be the same way. No, 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 no. If you're thinking about a short term game, every day is either win or lose, and it can hit you really hard. If you think about playing an infinite game, you can reframe setbacks as opportunities for wisdom, as opportunities for learning that make you a better player over time. So, for instance, if I have a bad day in my business, right, maybe I botch a talk that I'm giving, rather than be like, my business is falling apart, this is terrible, I can say, hey, I'm playing an infinite game to become an excellent speaker and to have as robust a business as possible. And so the talk didn't go well. What can I learn from it so that the next time I give a talk, I'm just a little bit better? And having that long term, infinite game mindset makes me more resilient.
Yeah. And what I love about that is like every experience, how you win the game is not by succeeding. How you win the game is how well do you learn? How much do you grow? Like it's predictable that you're going to hit all kinds of hard things. Great. Yes, here's another hard thing. Can I overcome it? Because the difference between people who move far in life and people who don't is how resilient they can be towards failure and challenge. And the infinite game mindset is like the hack that lets you move through that by playing a longer game. Okay, so the next one is actually a little bit on a different side. It's physical touch, right? So contact with other people has some really amazing effects. It produces oxytocin, which increases social bonding, increases resilience, decreases inflammation in the body. It's actually especially focused on the heart. It literally decreases physical inflammation around your heart, which is amazing.
Do you feel less inflamed?
I wasn't that inflamed, but I do like that. It also helps us with regulating stress, right? One of the things that I notice is when I'm going through hard things, especially like hard things in the social, navigating the social world, hugs, touch, hand holding, like these things just, like they soften my system. And it's like, it's a message directly into your limbic brain that says, you're good, you're lovable, you're okay. And that message just allows our systems to re-regulate. And moving through the world with a regulated nervous system makes us automatically more resilient because we're going to have more ability to face, navigate, juggle, and dance with life's hard moments.
Yeah. And this can be physical touch from anyone, right? Your children, your spouse, your significant other, your friends. Like there's no hierarchy when it comes to physical touch as long as you feel a genuine connection and care from that person. All right, let's talk about number 4. Choose how you'll respond to setbacks ahead of time. This is something I learned personally when I was interviewed on the UK's largest morning show. I knew that being visible in front of that many people would lead to hate mail. And I said, okay, when I get my first really impressive piece of hate mail, how do I want to respond? And I decided that I would see it as a sign of progress, that I was being visible enough in my business to even have a hater, and that I'd actually see it as a positive thing. Now, I got the most impressive piece of hate mail. It was many pages long. They'd gone through my social media history. They insulted my physical appearance, my past relationships, my interview on this television show. And for a second, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, completely taken out. And then I remembered, oh, wait, I've imagined before how I'd respond to this. And I picked myself up and I was like, yes, this is a sign that I'm on the right track. And I was able to move through it pretty quickly thanks to the visioning and the imagining that I'd done before.
There's another one here. Michael Phelps had won 6 gold medals, and he's going for the 7th, which is, I believe it was the butterfly, could be wrong. And he was getting ready to win, and then his goggles start filling with water, which is, for a lot of professional athletes in that context, it's kind of a death to their dreams of winning, right? They can't see as well. But the thing about Michael Phelps is that him with his coach had drilled for this. And his coach would, in the middle of his set, sometimes just rip off his glasses entirely and do these unexpected things and prepared him for setbacks like that. So he trained for that. He still got that 7th gold medal because he had prepared for that. It did not affect his performance, which is amazing. So, the best of the best in sports, they do this. They prepare for setbacks.
Yeah. Good job, Michael, because we know you're watching this video.
So let's talk about number 5. I call this my daily dose of discomfort. A daily dose of discomfort is all about choosing discomfort, right? Often in life, discomfort chooses us, and that puts us at a real disadvantage when we meet life's difficult things. So one of the practices that I have is I choose to lean into one thing every day that feels really uncomfortable. It could be really small. Like it might be that someday I'm like, I don't want to brush my teeth today. All right, that's my daily dose of discomfort. Or for me, writing and journaling is so hard. It puts me in really uncomfortable emotions because whatever I'm deferring on my emotionally, it's so uncomfortable, so I want to avoid it. And so I really practice leaning into that. That's my daily dose of discomfort. I hate going to parties. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm going to go, this is my daily dose of discomfort. I'm going to go to a party and lean into something that's uncomfortable, right? So that just getting out of a comfort zone, not in a huge way. It's like if you're terrified of heights, don't go skydiving necessarily, right? I mean, you could, but that's not the thing that we're talking about here, which is about consistent, daily, incremental things that are going to add much more strength and resilience to your brain by giving it these little touches of challenge and these touches of support, right? Like the physical touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll mention another one of both of our favorites, getting in cold water. And I also have clients that take a quick cold shower in the morning just to say all right, I'm going to choose to practice a little discomfort and showing up the way I want to. Like that water is cold, whew, I'm showing up with grit, and it increases your grit over time.
What I really love about this is like one of the things I notice about my daily dose of discomfort, either whether it's journaling or going to a party or getting into, 42-degree water for 3 minutes, is that the pain is in the resistance. Like when I'm resisting, oh my God, it's gonna hurt, then it does. But if I can practice relaxing into that cold water, then the pain goes away and there's just a sensation. And that's such amazing training for the other moments in life when it's like, no, that shouldn't happen. And being like, wait, I've practiced for this. Like, if I decrease my resistance and like relax into this, how bad is it really? If I'm present and I'm not in resistance, can I meet this? And often the space inside really opens up. All right. What about number 6?
This one's super simple. If you have access to a computer or a telephone, you can do it, which is watch a brief, inspiring video. Now, I was reminded of this yesterday, actually. I was having a really bad day, and my romantic partner said, hey, I want you to see something. And he showed me a video of this guy who had shattered his femur. They told him he'd never walk again. And he was like, I think I'll run a marathon in less than 3 hours. And the video, sorry,
Wow.
physical touch.
Thank you. Okay.
The video showed the process. He had to run something like 28 marathons before he did it. And he just stuck with it. And I was like, what that dude is doing is harder than what I'm doing. And suddenly though, I was inspired. I felt like, all right, I've got a sense of inspiration. If he can do it, I can do it. And I reconnected to my own resilience. And that brings us to the last one.
The last one is another one of these like support pieces, which is join a community.
And show up consistently.
Show up consistently, which is so important because when you show up with a community consistently, there is a sense, we're social mammals. Like we're used to being in community, and the ways that people are often isolated these days, it really decreases resilience. So when you are embedded, even if it's a simple community like a hiking club or mountain biking or, gaming, whatever you're into, right? If you go and you show up consistently, those are people who are going to often offer you either emotional support, resources, and just a sense of expanded sense of identity. One of the things they've found is that the people who are like solidly in community it's one of the factors in blue zones, in like these places where people live significantly longer than other areas. One of the key pieces is that they have consistent community for long periods of time that is really consistent.
It also releases serotonin and dopamine in the brain, right?
And so dopamine is really cool. Not only does dopamine increase your desire to like create goals, move towards them, it also increases your ability to believe that you can overcome the obstacles in between you and what you want, which is amazing. I actually remember I was in a business meeting and we'd set some really big goals, and I was like, I don't think we can do this. I can't overcome this. Like, it's too ambitious. And then I was like, wait, that's a low dopamine state. Turns out cold plunging, to go back, increases dopamine. So in the meeting, I turned off my video, got in the cold plunge, and within 5 minutes, I was like, wait a second. This is totally doable. Like my entire state changed, and we way exceeded our goal. But it's like, it's such a hack, right? That this piece about dopamine really increases that. So physical touch also helps with that. Watching inspiring videos also helps with that. Joining community and showing up and feeling held in community increases dopamine. It also increases serotonin. Serotonin is the chemical that basically lets us feel happy, like at peace with our lives, content, enjoyable, and having that kind of downtime and that space to expand allows us to also integrate, and that activates this emotional processing system. Even if we're just hanging out with people, things start to decompress, and then again, that creates more space in your system to show up and be resilient for your life.
The last piece of community is that it often gives us a sense of purpose when we show up consistently, right? It becomes, I wake up every day because I am loved by a community. I'm supportive of a community. I contribute to this community. Contribution is huge to our sense of purpose, and purpose is directly related to resilience. So these were our 7 secrets to becoming mentally tougher, to becoming anti-fragile, to becoming
Unfuck with the ball.
unfuckwithable. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe below.